Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome back. So, in the last video tutorial, we were able to do simple authentication, that is the sign up, okay, where we receive the username that the person is supposed to use, and then we also use the email and then the password. So we have to also make sure that we create an instance of the user model here when we sign up or sign in. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We have to just go ahead and do it here. So we know that we are receiving a response body here. Okay, that we printed it and then we saw it in the debug console. Okay, so we are receiving a response body here, which will return something like this. Let me see. We will have a sample response somewhere here. Where's the code? Yeah, sample response here, which will this one is different. This one is different. Sorry. Sample response. Where is it? Um, Sample response. Okay, so we receive an ID, the ID, an email, and then ID token, and then spicing. All this data is what we receive as a response. Okay, so let's just make sure we get the email back. Okay, even though we are having the email here, we can easily go ahead with that email, but let's just make sure we get the email. Okay, so with this one, we know this is the response body, and then we know that it is coming as a JSON um, file, I mean type, data type. So we are going to convert it to a map. So map string, and then the value can be dynamic. It can be any data type. So we use dynamic, and then we are going to say response body here, and then we are going to JSON dot decode. Okay, this time we are decoding the response body, response dot body here. Response here, response. Okay, that body here. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. We get the response body here, and now we can just decide to go ahead and then create let me just print something here. Okay, let me just print something here. Printing the user token here, and that will be, let's just go ahead and do this response body. Okay, dot, not dot, sorry, this, because it will be returned as a map, I mean as a JSON data, but then we convert it into a map here. So we can now use the key, which is this particular key, which is ID token here. So we can go ahead and then use ID token here. Okay, and then I think now I don't need this kind of comment here, so I'll save this one. And okay, let me just bring this whole thing down. And since we have this email inside our app already, I'm just going to make sure I use something else here. So I'll say anyone, um, anyone here, Gmail, and then let's try to change the password to anyone. So you can close the password this way, and then let's sign up again. Okay, so we sign up. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you see, it took some time to print the user, it's printing the user token. So we can see that how we are receiving our response is working. So that's how we are going to create the user. How do we call it? The user, the instance of the user. Okay. So when we sign up, we know that this will return a value that will make sense. Okay, and then we know that this response will come with a token. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create our instance, user instance. So we can say authenticated user is equal, sorry, not equal to, we use this and then we put this one there. Okay, now we want to use the email. Okay, and then we can use the response body here and then access the email. You get my point here. Okay, because we are using the same key here. Okay, email, and then we are getting the email here. We can easily assign this email here, but then we know that this can also return the email that we used here. Okay, and then that makes sense. And then we sign up something like this. Okay, And this one works fine. Okay. So we also have to store in the token. Let me see. Token. Oh, I think I didn't do that. So let's go here and then add in. We have to accept in a final string of ID, and we also have to accept final string of token. So let's just do that here. So we have to accept this dot ID and then this dot token here. So doing this, we can now come here, create an instance here, and we can go ahead and do this. So response body here, and then we can ID. Sorry, I don't think it's ID. It is local ID. Okay, local ID. So local ID here. Okay, local ID, and then we can also token, and then we can also response body, and then we can also save the token. Is I think ID token, right? Yeah, ID token. So ID token. So we have something like this. Okay, so this is actually maybe what we need for now. We know that we also need the username and then the user type. So I think the user type, you can just go ahead and say let's say customer. Yeah, the user type is just a customer, not an admin, because when we are signing up here, we are signing up as a customer or maybe as a client. Okay, also I'll put a customer there as default. And for now, and then let's see the other fields that we need. We need the first name, last name, and all those fields, the username. For now, we are not passing those values here. Okay, so we will work with that later. So now when we sign up, we want to create this user, this authenticated user, so that we can use the authenticated user in our application later. So for me to check if this authenticated user is actually created, then I'll come here, and then instead of using this, okay, I can use the authenticated user here and check to just the authenticated user dot token here to see if the token was actually assigned to this user instance. Okay, so save it, and let's change this to this email, because otherwise this email is not in the database. So let's change this to anything, and then change the password to also anything. Okay, and then we can let me show you. Let me just open the debug console, clear the debug console, and then sign up. Sorry, the email is incorrect. So that's okay. And then let's sign up. Okay. So you can see printing the user token. We use this authenticated user, which is the instance that we created here, and we were able to access the token because printing the user token is working correctly. Okay. So that means this was successful. Okay. But then what happens if the email already exists? What happens? Okay, so let's just try and see if something happens. I mean, if you get a good response when this thing happens. So let's try and sign up again with the same email. We click on it, it goes in, and then nothing is returned because we don't get any token returned to us. So this is saying no. Okay, because we try to create an instance where we are not getting any return, I mean, any response, any better response, but we are trying to access all these fields which were not existing. So, what data or what response do we get when an error or something happens? Okay, so let's check here. Okay, come and check here. Check the API here. I think it's supposed to be somewhere here. Okay, so common error codes. So if the email exists, something like this will be returned. Okay, something like this will be expected. Okay, so there are error codes. So we have this error code there. Okay, so let me see. So how do we check if what we had, the response that we had, is the correct one or the wrong one? So let's quickly print this, the response body again. Yeah. Let's say response body. Okay. Save this and then let's check again. Okay. So let me clear this thing and then sign up with the same email. Okay. So when I click on it, let's see, we get a now. So it said the response body again is error, and then we get a code of 400 and then all this. So the error comes with what? The error is the key, and then the value is also another map, and inside we have some errors and blah blah blah. Okay. So if you want to access this particular message, okay, which is saying email already exists, okay, this is the error code here. Okay, then we can say we can access the map as error and then another key as message. Okay, so we can see in the error code, I mean in the response, we don't get any ID token return. Okay, but if suppose this was a correct, let me just do it for you to see. Let me just add s here so that it becomes a different email, and then add s here to it. Okay, and then let's clear this. You see this one, there's no ID token return. So let's click on the sign up again. This time this email doesn't exist, so we get a response body where we get an ID token. So we can use the ID token to check whether a user was successfully created or not. Okay, that's the techniques we can do now. So here, before we even create an instance of an authenticated user here, okay, what we are going to do is check if the response body, okay, dot contains a particular key. And what key do you want to check? We want to check if this response body, oh, sorry, my PC is slow at the moment, and so what we're going to do is check if the ID token, okay, if the response body contains something like ID token. If it contains an ID token, then we can go ahead and create an instance of a user. So that will be our authenticated user. Okay. If it doesn't contain any ID token, then we know that something has gone wrong. Maybe an error has been returned. So we can go to else, check if response body, okay, dot error, okay. You remember how the error was, I mean, the response, if the email exists, was displayed, okay, error, and then we check for the message that will return. So if we check for the error, because if we don't get an ID token return, then we definitely know that something has gone wrong. So we want to check for the error message. So if that equals email exists, okay, then we know that, hey, let me just use something somewhere. Let me just go ahead and create sorry, let me create string error message, or maybe just message. Yeah, message, and then let me just make it empty for now, I mean no for now. And then we can now put the message here and say email already exists. Okay, something like this. Okay, so for now this is the email that we I mean the error code that we can work with now for now. Okay, so we have this. Okay, and what again are we going to do? So if it works, if the email doesn't exist, then we can do this, something like this. um okay, for now let me just go ahead and then use a print statement here. Let me just comment this, I'm not going to clean it, and then use a print statement here. The email already exists. Okay, save this, and let me just clean this, I don't need this now again. And I think this one is okay. So let's try and then see something in the debug console. So we know that we've already signed up with this email. So when I click on this, we expect that email already exists. So let's click on it. Let's see. So we get a response body which is wrong, and it's saying, oh, email already exists. Okay, so that is what we get in returns. Okay, so that is also working correctly. We can't just keep this one for now. It's commented, so that's okay. For now, we've not received any. I mean, we've not had any problem with our authentication, so this code is not printing. Okay, suppose we just break the code here, I mean the URL. Let's say take this one out, save it, and then we um we see this error, then zip. Okay, so the error signing up, the error while signing up, which is this is in the catch block here, which is saying the error signing up here. So that is what we are seeing here. Okay, and that is when an error happens. So let me just take it back to how it was. Okay, so there was one there, save it, and then everything is working fine. So we've taken care of creating an authenticated user when we sign up. Um, so we also have to pass in this username, okay, to our system, I mean to our database. Um, I don't know what to do now. If I should just, because we in this user field here, um uh, my key is okay. So when we come here, we are expecting first name and then last name and then maybe the phone number and the username. But we are only accepting the username here. We are not accepting the phone number and then first name, last name. Um, do you guys think is important? I think do I have to create it that way? I think I just don't know if I should do it because that will have to let me write another code. Okay, you for now. Let's just forget about this three for now. Okay, let me just go back to the scope mode here and let's see what we are supposed to do here again. So we are forgetting about the username and then the email. I think you can just do that. Maybe later we will do it anyway. So we have this message here, but then when we click on the sign up, we also want to show that there's something going on. Okay, so we want to show something like a loader saying, hey, we are signing you up or something like that. So how are we going to do that? So to do that, we have to create a boolean here, value here say is loading or something like this. So that means something is working at the background, and then we can say boolean get is loading, and then we can return is loading. So this is to get this particular value here. Okay, and then we say is loading here. That is fine. And then when we do this, okay, we also have to create a a method to get this particular authenticated user. So we can also say user get authenticated user, and then we can return authenticated user here. Okay, so when we do that, we can now have access to other authenticated user. So now let's continue here. So before we start any functionality in our code, we want to check and we want to set sorry, we have to give this a default value of false. So at the beginning it is false, nothing is working, nothing is loading, there's no processes going on. So before we start any process in the authentication method, okay, we want to set it to true that something is happening, it's loading, okay, to true. And if you remember, when we change the state of any variable, we want to notify listeners so that the app will rebuild. Okay, I mean the widget will rebuild. So we notify listener that hey, the state of this is loading has changed, okay, to true. So rebuild the interface, okay, or rebuild the widget, okay, the widget tree. And then we do that. So after everything is done, we want to say, hey, everything is done, so go back to false. And then we notify the listeners that, hey, we are done with the authentication, so go back to false. And also, if an error occur, we also want to set it to false, that, hey, something happened, so go back to false. For now, that's what we are doing. This we've done this in the fetching of our food items. So I think if you did that, you remember. Okay, so we save this, and then what again are we supposed to do? So let's just go into the sign up page here. Okay, and then in the sign up page here, in the sign up page, what are we going to do? But wait. Okay, where's the on submit? Okay, so with the on submit method here, what are we going to do? When we click on this, okay, this method is called here. I don't know if I created a widget for showing the dialog. Okay, I think it's here. We created a method says show dialog. We take in the context, and then we also put in the message that we want to display. So that makes sense. Okay. So let's go to the sign up page again. Sign up page. Okay. So when we click this, we want to say show loading progress bar, loading indicator, and then we put our message here, say signing up, something like this. So this will show. Then when we are done showing, okay, when we are done, we want to also want to close that dialog. So we will come here and then we want to close the dialog. But then how do we get to know that this authentication method has completed? And that is something that we have to check from here. When we come back to the authentication model, okay, we have to wait for everything to be completed here before we alert that, hey, it has completed. So now remove the dialog from there. So we have to return a future here. And the future will be, let me say, for now, let me say true. I mean, the state of true or false. And then future, okay. For now, I'm just returning true, but we will change it later because of the error messages and all that and the state. Oh, let me just, I'm coming. Let me see what we can do because let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so what we want to do here is because we will have to return, um, we have to return a message, and then if an error occurs, we have to also show that, hey, an error occurs. Okay, so we want to create what's this? I'll go ahead and create another variable here like has error, and then I'll put this one to false. Okay, now when we do this, we want to return a message and then has error here. And then the message here is, let's see if this works. If we're able to create authentication here, then we can return a message like, hey, sign up. Okay. Um, you have something. I don't even know the message I want to print, but sign up successfully. Maybe something like this is okay. Sign up successfully, and then here will be a email already exists. Okay, so here, if this one has an error, we are saying say the error is false here, so that is okay. But then when we come here, if this happens, that means there was an error. So we can say false. Sorry, has error to true. Okay, so if you get what I'm trying to do here, has error to true, the message, everything here. So now when we are done notifying the listeners here, we can now return a map. Okay, so let's just return a map instead of true or false. Yeah, and then we can go ahead a string and then dynamic, something like this. So now when we come here, we can return a map here, and then we can say message here is the message variable that we created, and then has error here will be sorry, has error here will be has error. Okay, you get my point here. And here too, if an error occurs, because this is saying has error is false, if something happens here, we also want to return, let me just remove this for now. We can now return what? The same map here. I'm sorry. We can now return the same map here, and then we can return a message here. Okay. And the message, what message are we returning? Let's say the message that we return here will be failed. Let's say failed to sign up successfully, something like this. And then we can also go to has error, and then because this one is saying false at initial state, okay, we can now say has error to has error. Okay, because this initially is false, so we have to not it so that it will become, if it is false, it becomes true. That means that there's an error occurred. So we have this and that, and everything is okay for now. So let's save it and then let's go back to our sign up page. So when we come here, we know that we are going to return, we are going to receive a future. So we can choose to await, okay, let's say await on it, sorry, async here, and then we can await for the value or the response. So final response, and then we can await here, something like this. Okay, we wait for the response, which will be a form of a map here. Okay, where's the map? Which will be the map that we are returning here. So when we do that, then we can get the response here. Um, but I think I won't do it this way. The reason is I want to close the dialog that will show. So let me just take this out now. So I'm going to use the then here, the then instead of the async here, and then we can accept the value which is also a map, or we can just go ahead and say final response or something. Okay, and then we can close the now dialog dot of contest dot pop. Okay, after everything is done, we want to close the dialog. So let's see, let's click on this. Let's see, it's signing up. Now it closes. Okay, we don't know what actually happened, but then we know that the response is a map. We can now check if response, and then we say has error, because we want to check if it has error, which is here, because we created this has error to be false. Okay, so but if it only becomes true if this fails. Okay, so if response has error, then an error occur. Okay, but if it doesn't have any error, then we can go ahead and do something like print, and then we can say we want to print the message. So as response, what message? I don't know if you are getting what I'm doing here. Else, then print the message here. We are trying to just see the message that will be returned. Okay, okay. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to do here, but just relax, you get what I'm doing. Okay, in case you're not getting it. Okay, so save it and let's see what happens. So let's click on it again. Click, and you see we get the message that with the email already exists. The error image, the error message that we sent, which is email already exists. So let me just do something here for you to see that it is actually coming from here. Let's save it and close this and then sign up again. You see, so it is actually coming from here. Let me just take this garbage from there, save it again. So what happens when we change, the email now and then change the password now? Okay, so let's sign up again. And then we get a token returned to us and we get sign up successfully, which is this particular message that we did. You see now, so this is making sense at the moment. So when we come into the sign up page, so with this one we can now decide what to do when there's a success message and then what to do when there is there's also a failure message. Okay, so for now we so here we can just say to do. Okay, and then we can say navigate to the home page because we are going to put this on the first page. Okay, navigate to the home page and then here to do is to print the error. I say print the error message. Now display the error message in s in what's the name of that thing? Okay, in the snack bar. Okay, so that's something that we are going to do. So I'll end the video here. Okay, guys, I'll end the video here and then we will continue in another video tutorial. So these are the to-dos that we are going to do in the next video tutorial. I think the sign up, I don't know if I'm done with all the sign up functionalities. I don't know. Yeah, because I'd say we are ignoring the username for now. I think we'll do it later. So for now, we're just ignoring them. We're just using the email and then the password. And then we can also sign up with those things. Okay, so those ones we'll do it later. But then I think in the next video tutorial, we will continue here. Okay, we will move this to the front page. Okay, and then we will do this to do. Okay, and then we will do the sign up, the sign in functionalities. Okay, so thanks to you guys for watching the video tutorial, and I appreciate that you guys love the tutorials. Okay, thank you.